Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर हरिबोल 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 हरिबोल। जगं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्य माता भय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ISKCON Bibli Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada की। जगं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्य श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की। श्री श्री गौर निताई की। श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। समवेत गौर भक्त बिंद की। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitang Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitang Jana Bhutale Swayang Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sa Padantikam. Vandehang Sri Gura Sri Juta Padakamalang Sri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatang Sahagana Raghunathan Tang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Tangsha Namong Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanang Papanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasang Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayesu Avadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25. We'll be discussing from text 14 onwards, right? We completed text number 13 yesterday. Prakaro pavanatala porikher akshatoranai sarna rupya jasai sringai sankulam sarvato grihai prakaro pavanatala porikher akshatoranai sarna rupya asai sringai sankulam sarvato grihai prakaro pavanatala porikher akshatoranai sarna rupya asai sringai sankulang sarvato grihai. Prakara, walls. Upavana, parks. Attala, towers. Parikhe, with trenches. Aksha, windows. Toranai, with gates. Sarna, gold. Ropya, silver. Ayasai, made of iron. Sringay, with domes. Sankulam, congested. Sarvata, everywhere. Grihai, with houses. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. That city was surrounded by walls and parks, and within it were towers, canals, windows, and outlets. The houses there were decorated with domes made of gold, silver, and iron. Purport. The body is protected by walls of skin. The hairs on the body are compared to parks, and the highest parts of the body, like the nose and head, are compared to towers. The wrinkles, depression on different parts of the body are compared to trenches or canals. The eyes are compared to windows, and the eyelids are compared to protective gates. The three types of metal, gold, silver, and iron, represent the three modes of material nature. Gold represents goodness, silver, passion, and iron, ignorance. The body is also sometimes considered to be a bag containing three elements, three dhatu, mucus, bile, and air. Kap, pitta, vayu. Jasatma buddhir kunape tri dhatu ke. According to Bhagavatam, one who considers this bag of mucus, bile, and air to be the self is considered no better than a cow or an ass. Mukam karati vachalam punghullanghaite giring jatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurudinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwara. So Narada Muni is continuing his discussion on King Puranjana. Just to refresh our memory, who is Puranjana? The living entity wandering in this material world. Then he has an unknown friend, Paramatma. Then this Puranjana found a very wonderful city at the southern region of Himalayas. What is that? That is the body. City of 9 gates. What are the 9 gates? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, genital and rectum. So in that way, this body is made of 9 gates. So discussion is continuing. In this verse today, it is explained that body is covered by the skin, right? So the skin represents walls, because city is protected by walls. So our body is protected by skins. Hairs on the body are compared to parks. Very good example. And the nose and head are like the towers. So this is a different explanation given. And also, it is explained, the houses there were decorated with domes made of gold, silver, and iron. So these 3 metals represent 3 modes of material nature. Gold represents goodness, silver represents passion, and iron represents ignorance. So this world is governed by 3 modes. Everything is done by 3 modes. Prakite kriyamanani gunai karamani sarvasa ahankara vimuratma kartaham iti mannate. Everything in this world is carried out by 3 modes. But out of ego, one considers himself as the doer of all activities, right? These modes are like the ropes. These modes are like the forces which compel a living entity to act in a certain way. If someone is in mode of goodness, he will act in a certain way. If someone is in mode of passion, he will act in a different way. And someone who is in ignorance, he will act in a very wonderful way. So this is the nature of this world. If someone is in goodness, he'll wake up early in the morning, naturally. And if someone is in the mode of ignorance, they will sleep early in the morning, start sleeping. Those who are in mode of goodness, they will stop sleeping early in the morning. But those who are in the mode of ignorance, they will start sleeping early in the morning. So this is a nature. It's no one's fault. Those who are in knowledge can understand. Someone is in mode of goodness will be attracted to a certain kind of food. Someone is in mode of passion will be attracted to certain kind of food. And someone is in mode of ignorance will be attracted to certain kind of food. It's no one's fault. This is the nature of this material world. Modes. They are the doers. Then why we are thinking that we are the doers? Because of the ego. Ego is the main factor. And that is binding us in this material world. The spirit soul is spiritual. Material body is material. And who is binding? That is ego. And by ego, the living entity, although he is spiritual, he is thinking, I am this body. This is the nature of the false ego. So to come out from the bodily concept of life, we have to come out from the false ego. How to come out from the false ego? What do you think? It's a process. That's why process has to be understood. So I give a very summary explanation how to take care of the ego. EGO. E, engage in menial service. G, give credit to others. O, offer respects to others. If we practice this, then slowly, slowly we can come out from the ego. It's a process. But we have to practice. Perfection comes from practice. So in the same way, we can come out from ego if we practice it. And that will be possible only we take shelter of the association of devotees and take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And through that we can practice this, engage in menial service, offer respect to others, give credit to others. These are the things we can do. But that will be possible only when we get in touch with the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord. So Narad Muni is continuing his discussion. Nila sphatika vaidurya mukta morokota runai kipta harmya sthalim diptam shriya bhagavatim iva. The floors of the houses in that city were made of sapphire, crystal, diamonds, pearls, emeralds, and rubies. Because of the luster of the houses in the capital, the city was compared to the celestial town named Bhagavati. Interesting. So it is explained here that heart is considered to be the capital. Every city has a capital. Every state has a capital. Every country has a capital. So, which is the capital of the city of 9 gates? Heart. Very important place. Why heart is very important? Divyagyan Hide Prakashit. We think brain is more important in our modern understanding. But everything comes from where? Everything comes from heart. Because in the heart, the living force is there. Two Atma, Jivatma and Paramatma, both reside in the region of heart. Right? That's why heart is very, very important. That's why Cheta Darpana Marujam. So we have to purify our mind and heart. Mind is also where? In the region of the heart. Because the soul is covered over by subtle body. Where is the soul? In the region of the heart. And that soul is covered over by subtle body. So where will be the subtle body? In the region of the heart. So everything is happening here. Our desires manifest where? It will be explained very nicely. Desires also coming from the heart. So it is written, Sabha chadvara ratyabhir akridayo tanapanai chaitadhaja patakhavir uktam vidruma vedibhi. In that city, there were many assembly houses. Assembly is also the main place of the capital. And it is explained, heart is also the assembly. Okay? Heart is also the assembly. It is explained here. In that city, there were many assembly houses, street crossings, streets, restaurants, gambling houses, markets, resting places, flags, festoons, and beautiful parks. All this surrounded the city. Let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. In this way, the capital is described. In the capital, there are assembly houses and many squares, many street crossings, avenues and streets, many gambling places, markets and places of rest, all decorated with flags and festoons. The squares are surrounded with railings and are devoid of trees. The heart of the body can be compared to the assembly house, for the living entity is within the heart along with Paramatma, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hidesannivishta matta smritir jnanam apahanancha. The heart is the center of all remembrance, forgetfulness and deliberation. In the body, the eyes, the ears and nose are different places of attraction for sense enjoyment. And the streets for going hither and thither may be compared to different types of air blowing within the body. The yogic process for controlling the air within the body and the different nerves is called susumna, the path of liberation. The body is also a resting place because when the living entity becomes fatigued, he takes rest within the body. The palms and the soles of the feet are compared to flags and festoons. So, assembly house is also explained here, and it is explained by Prabhupada that assembly house also heart. So in that way, heart plays a very significant role in the body, both materially and also spiritually. Puriyastu bhayapavane dipadruma latakule nadad bihangoli kula kola halo jalasay. On the outskirts of that city were many beautiful trees and creepers encircling a nice lake. Also, surrounding that lake were many groups of birds, bees, that were always chanting and humming. Since the body, purport by Prabhupada, since the body is a great city, there must be various arrangements, such as lakes and gardens for sense enjoyment. Of the various parts of the body, those which incite sexual impulses are referred to here indirectly. Because the body has genitals, when the living entity attains the right age, be he a man or woman, he becomes agitated by the sex impulse. As long as one remains a child, he is not agitated by seeing a beautiful woman. Although the sense organs are present, unless the age is ripe, there is no sex impulse. The favorable conditions surrounding the sex impulse are compared here to a garden or a nice solitary park. When one sees the opposite sex, naturally the sex impulse increases. It is said that if a man in a solitary place does not become agitated upon seeing a woman, he is to be considered a brahmachari. But this practice is almost impossible. The sex impulse is so strong that even by seeing, touching, or talking, coming in contact with, or even thinking of the opposite sex, even in so many subtle ways, one becomes sexually impelled. Consequently, a brahmachari or sannyasi is prohibited to associate with women, especially in a solitary place. The Shastras enjoin that one should not even talk to a woman in a secret place, even if she appears to be one's daughter, sister, or mother. The sex impulse is so strong that even if one is very learned, he becomes agitated in such circumstances. And if this is the case, how can a young man in a nice park remain calm and quiet after seeing a beautiful young woman? So, heart is the source of desires, material desires. How many material desires? How many? Unlimited. The point is very nicely understood. Unlimited desires. So here, the essence of all desires, or the most prominent desire, is explained. The attraction of this material world is the sex impulse. In the spiritual world, the impulse is love. And in the material world, impulse is lust. And the most prominent aspect of that lust is sex desire. This is the root. And as long as this root is there in the heart, we are not allowed to enter into the spiritual world. So this is the binding force. So how to come out from that? That is the whole purpose of spiritual practice. Why you are practicing Krishna consciousness? Why we are practicing spirituality? To transform the lust into love. Atpendriya priti vancha tare bole kam. Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. It is not the activity, it is the desire. So plucking a beautiful rose is an activity. So it can be lust, it can be love, depending on the purpose behind it, depending on the desire behind it. So every activity in this world can be classified either as lust or as love. It's not the activity, but the desire behind it. That's why it is written, Atpendriya Pritivancha. When the desire is to enjoy our senses, that is lust. And when the desire is to please the senses of Krishna, that is called love. It's clear? Is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very simply but very deeply. And if we can understand this deep meaning, then our life will become successful. This is the root. This is the root of material existence, and this is the root of spiritual existence. Love and lust. Love is the root of spiritual existence. Lust is the root of material existence. Everything is manifestation of that. Root is invisible. We cannot see the root of a tree, but we see the tree. In the same way, we don't see the lust, we don't see the love, but we see material world, we see the spiritual world. So when the seed or root is lust, the tree is material world. When the seed or root is love, the tree is the spiritual world. Clear? So now journey begins from lust to love. That is our journey. Spiritual journey means journey, destination is love. And where journey begins? Lust. So how it is possible? It's possible. This journey, completing this journey, possible? Possible? Possible. So I also give a very simple explanation to practice different aspects of spirituality to transform the lust into love. So L-U-S-T. L, leave bad association. U, understand the bad effects of lust. S, sincerely take shelter. And T, tolerate the provoking situations. So if we practice these principles, there's a hope, there's a chance, there's a possibility that we can overcome the lusty propensities and transform that lust into love. So first is leave association. Karana guna sangasya sat asat jani janmasu. Association is very powerful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended asat sangha tyag. We also discussed other day. Asat sangha tyag ei Vaishnavachar. If we have to be devotee, then we have to give up asat sangha. And in order to overcome lust, we have to give up bad association. The glaring example is Ajamil. Ajamil was a wonderful Brahmana, very learned, very saintly, with wonderful character. But when he saw a prostitute in a very awkward condition with another man, Ajamil could not control his senses. Whatever knowledge he had, Kamayasa, Krodayasa, Rajaguna, Samudbhava, Mahasuna, Mahapapna, Vidyanaya, Vairinam, nothing worked. Because that is the power of Satsanga. What to talk about Ajamil? That happened in Satyuga. It happened in Kali Yuga also. It happened in South India. It happens everywhere. Kala Krishna Das. He was traveling with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the embodiment of love. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Kala Krishna Das was traveling with him. But when he saw a group of people enjoying their life, Bhattahari, he became attracted. And he lost all his composure. And he wanted to give up the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he wanted to be with them. That is the power of association. So that's why International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established by Srila Prabhupada to give opportunity to the people all over the world to have satsanga. Leave bad association, that is the negative aspect. What is the positive aspect? Satsanga. So that opportunity is given by His divine grace very wonderfully in different parts of the world. The purpose of ISKCON is to provide sadhu sangha. So first aspect, leave bad association. L. U. Why you have to give up lust? People think it's very good. What's the big deal? That is very nice. Yes. Lust is very nice if someone wants to stay in this material world. It's very valuable. But that has no value in the spiritual world. Just like dollar may be very valuable in America, but when that dollar comes in India, unless you convert into rupees, it does not have any value. So lust may be very valuable in this material world, but unless you convert into love, has no value in the spiritual world. So we have to understand the bad effect of lust. What are the effects? There are many bad effects. The first effect is that lust makes one blind. He cannot see things. Intelligence is lost. That is the first bad effect of lust. Lust keeps us bound in this material world. And lust takes away good association. These are three primary bad effects of lust. Already I explained how lust takes away good association. Kala Krishna Das gave up Mahaprabhu's association because of lust. And lust keeps us bound, that is normal. As long as we have attraction of sex life, we cannot be out of this material world. We have to be in this material world, in the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. And lust makes one blind. Silana Mishra, a wonderful Brahmana, he was attracted to a prostitute. And the name of the prostitute was Chintamani. Beautiful lady, and he was very much attracted to that beautiful lady, Chintamani. Every day he used to go to her. One day, Silana's father died. So relatives, family members said, Silana, you should not go today at least. That day it was heavy rain, evening time. Silana said, I cannot stay without going to her. I have to go. So Chintamani used to stay on the other side of the river. And that day, because of the heavy rain, there's a heavy current, heavy flow in the river. The river was overflowing and there was no boat available. How to cross the river? He saw a log of wood and he jumped into the water, held that log of wood and swam across the river and reached the other side of the river. And how to go to the place where Chintamani stays? He stays upstairs. So Silana saw a rope is hanging from the tree. He grabbed that rope and climbed up and knocked at the door of Chintamani. Chintamani was surprised. She got the news that his father died, such a bad weather. Still Chintamani saw that he is here. Silana is here. And he checked, how you came here, how you crossed the river, how you climbed up. He said, I crossed the river with a log of wood. Said, let me check what kind of log of wood. And Chintamani checked, that was not a log of wood, that was a dead body. And he checked, where is the rope? That was not the rope. That was a poisonous snake hanging. That shows how lust makes one blind. So these are the bad effects of lust. So you means understand the bad effects of lust. Then shelter. Sincerely seek shelter of the Lord. We cannot overcome lust by our own endeavor. Doibihesha gunamoyi mamamaya durattaya. Mamevaja prapaddante mayame tang tarantite. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this maya is very, very difficult to overcome. Insurmountable maya. But you can very easily cross over. How? If someone takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. It becomes very easy because Maya is working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of God. If the Lord says, Maya, please don't disturb that person, he is in my custody, then that is the only hope. By our own effort, by our own endeavor, we cannot overcome this powerful aspect of material existence, that is lust. So taking shelter. Prabhupada gives the example, a Jamil did not have the shelter. That's why he became disturbed. But Haridas Thakur, Maya Devi herself came. The prostitute came to test Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur was not agitated. Rather, by the influence of Haridas Thakur, the prostitute became a pure devotee of the Lord. That is the power of shelter. Ashray Koriya Bhaje Krishna Tare Nahi Taje Baki Sab More Akaran. Bhajan or service to the Lord is possible only when we take shelter. Taking shelter is very, very important. Sadhu Sangha means taking shelter of the Vaishnavas is very, very powerful. Taking shelter of the holy name is very, very powerful. Taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very powerful. In Kali Yuga, if we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name in the association of devotees, we will be very much protected. So Haridas Thakur is the example. Why Haridas Thakur could overcome these lusty propensities and not being affected by the beautiful, wonderful looking prostitute, and even Swayam Maya Devi came and she could not disturb him. Why? Because Haridas Thakur has taken complete shelter of the holy name of the Lord. That is the proof. So, sincerely take shelter of the Lord. That is S. And T, till the journey continues from lust to love, what you have to do? You have to tolerate. It's not that lusty desires will not come. It will come. But you have to tolerate. How we can tolerate? When intelligence is very powerful. When intelligence can control the mind, then we can tolerate the provoking situation. Tesang satata yuktanang bhajatam pridipurgakam dadami buddhi jogam tam janamam upajantite. When our senses are completely engaged in devotional service constantly, then we get spiritual intelligence. Our intelligence becomes purified. Our intelligence becomes spiritualized when we are constantly engaged in devotional service. Tesang satata yuktanang bhajatang piti purvakam tadami buddhi jogam tam janamam upajantite. Then we can say no to the lusty desires. Otherwise, mind will take over. Either intelligence will take over or mind will take over. When we have weak spiritual practice, then mind will become very strong. And when we have strong spiritual practice, our intelligence will become strong. And when intelligence is very strong, then we will not become victimized by lust. But when mind is very strong, then we will become victimized by lust. So how we can tolerate the provoking situations? When our intelligence is very, very powerful. And that is possible when we have strong spiritual practices. But we should not think, oh, the thoughts will not come, nothing will come, we will become pure devotee. That will happen when we attain the level of prema bhakti. But till that happens, we have to go through this provoking situations. That's why you have to learn how to tolerate. And Prabhupada explains, the greatness of a person has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. A great person is tested in provoking situations. How do I know a person is great or not? Not by his achievements, but by his character. And character is tested when he is in a provoking situation. Many great people of the world succumbed to the provoking situations. But the real great persons, like Haridas Thakur, did not succumb to the provoking situation. Why? Because they have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we, as the followers of Haridas Thakur, followers of our previous acharyas, if we take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of the holy name, in the form of association of devotees, then we can also tolerate the provoking situation and continue our journey from lust to love and achieve our perfection in due course of time. Time is up. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Questions and comments are welcome, both on site and online. Mic, use mic so that it will be recorded properly and online listeners also will hear.
Prabhuji, you give example of Kal Krishna Das. So he left the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was under the shelter of the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself.
Yeah.
So how it happened?
How it happened? Yes, good question. You want the answer?
Yes.
Staying together is not the symptom of shelter. Arjuna was also with Krishna, but he was bewildered. Arjuna was just standing next to him, but he is telling, I am bewildered. Physical proximity does not mean is the shelter. Sadhu Sangha does not mean physical proximity. So what is the meaning of Sadhu Sangha? Machitta madgata prana badhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mang nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Sadhu Sangha means where Harikatha takes place. Arjuna was bewildered, although he was just next to Krishna. But as soon as he heard Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, his bewilderment disappeared. So Kala Krishna Das may be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was not taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So physical proximity does not guarantee your protection. Okay? Hare Krishna. Any question online? By taking shelter. What is the meaning of shelter? Shelter means feel dependent. A child takes shelter of the mother. What does that mean? She is completely dependent on the mother. In the same way, when a living entity becomes completely dependent on Krishna, that is the meaning of shelter. Avasya rakhibe Krishna vishwasa palan. Krishna is the protector. Krishna is the maintainer. When you accept that, that is the meaning of shelter. Shelter is not a sentiment. I have taken shelter. How? You have faith that Krishna is going to protect you. Krishna is going to maintain you. If that is there, that is the meaning of shelter. Clear?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is the shelter and the surrender are the same mother?
What?
Is the shelter and the surrender are the one and the same, Prabhu?
One of the aspect of surrender is taking shelter.
Okay.
There are 6 limbs of surrender. So one of them is Avasya Rakhive Krishna. Krishna will give protection. There are other aspects of surrender also. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Any other question? Huh?
Can you clarify what you in lust stand for?
Understand the bad effects of lust. I was very clear and loud somehow. Is that okay? So we'll stop here. No more questions, looks like.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you very much for your class, Prabhuji. Very, very inspiring. Prabhuji, you said take shelter. So in practice, what we do in our lives, Prabhuji?
So what to do? Prabhupada said, the process of devotional service means taking shelter of the spiritual master, taking shelter of the Vaishnavas. Guru Padasraya. How sadhana bhakti begins? Sadhana bhakti begins by accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So now question may come, what is the meaning of accepting a bona fide spiritual master? Accepting the bona fide spiritual master means whatever Guru will say, I will follow that. That is the meaning of shelter. After Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Krishna told Arjuna, I have spoken Bhagavad Gita, now you do whatever you want to do. Then Arjuna, what did he say? Thank you very much. He said like that. He said, Karishya vachanang tava. I'll do whatever you will say. That is the meaning of shelter. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat. Hare
If you
Krishna.
remove 3 words from your life, then that is a practice of shelter. I like it. If these 3 words disappear, then you are practicing shelter.
Krishna likes it.
I'm not telling that. If you can remove these 3 words, I like it. If these 3 words are not there in your life, then you are taking shelter.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Anything else?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh.
Dandavat. So,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, Goprutve Varanam Tota. The meaning, Prabhu?
That is, Krishna is the maintainer.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
So this I like it. This can be a bit elaborate. I understand. Like and it. Is that
Huh? It has to be elaborated. It's very much, this is a common feature of this world. Prabhuji, I like it. Prabhuji, I like this service. Prabhuji, I like chanting. Prabhuji, I like that. Prabhuji, I like that. And that's why, whether you like or don't like, you have to stay in this world. So what is bhakti? Bhakti means what Krishna likes. I do what Krishna likes me to do. That is the meaning of bhakti. Not that what I like to do. Okay?
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
You are happy with the answer or?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Anything else?
In chat, one question. Can you explain the acronym ego again?
Again,
Say full form.
full form. E. Engage in menial service. I spoke so many times these things. But because from Paramatma comes forgetfulness also. So E means engage in menial services. G. Give credit to others. O. Offer respect to others. Okay? It's my product. It's not that it's coming from Shastra. Whatever I understood, I just to make people remember some principles from the word itself. Okay then. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samavita Bhaktabind ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananta Kodi Vaishnava.